2, 1. We are live with Track Hack Episode 3. I'm your host, Gideon McManus. This is my brother, Silas McManus. A couple of weeks ago, we were like, hey, let's make a little running podcast. And here we are, 3 episodes in. And now we have a Discord, Silas, which I'm super excited about. I posted the question on TikTok, and I was like, hey, I want to help make some people some training plans. I need some free people to coach. And so it actually worked out where I was like, well, I can actually just have people join the Discord and then it's all good. So I had people join the Discord and now we are all freaking chilling. So excited about that. But Silas, how have things been going for you, man?
Oh, really, really good. This week of training so far has been my most interesting week of running in a while. I had 57
Mm-hmm.
miles this week,
Mm.
13-mile long run, which was just
Yep.
great. So I went 13 miles, about
Yep.
7:27 mile pace, all in my shoe that I recommended a few episodes ago, the Vomero Plus. It was
Which shoe was
great.
that?
The Nike
Oh,
Vomero
Vomero Plus.
Plus.
Vomero Plus.
Yes,
Okay,
very
okay.
good. Super fun week. Been looking forward to this. Glad that we're getting a lot of questions coming in too. So I'm doing great.
Yeah, man. I posted that TikTok of being like, hey guys, I will literally coach you for free. And I got a lot more responses than I thought I would. I took on probably about 25 people having questions about running and wanting a training plan. Of course, am I going to be able to make an individualized training plan across their whole training block? No, but I basically told everybody I can give you like 6 to 8 weeks and it'll be kind of a generalized plan. But yeah, I gave everybody a little training plan and really excited about it. So also got people to join the Discord and hopefully make a little community there. I also plan to make a Patreon as well where I can post those plans and they can kind of be behind a paywall so nobody can just give them out willy-nilly. But if you guys want access to some of the training plans, I've already made a week 1 of a couch to 5K, of a getting back into running training for 5K plan. So excited about that. I've probably sent out about 10 training plans in the past couple hours. So just
Great,
week
great.
1 though, because I'm just trying to take it week by week. But yeah, really excited about that. And we also got a lot of questions for at the end of the show when we do a little listener corner and we can answer some questions that were posed in the Discord. So if you guys want to join the Discord, quick promo, really quick. You can DM me. I'll send you the Discord link. It's for people that want the training plans. You can join the Discord. So if you want a training plan, send me a message on Instagram or TikTok. I promise I will check your DM. I'll send you the Discord and we can get to work on you smashing your next PR. It was really cool. It like ranged from I'm training somebody couch to 5K and I'm training somebody to try to go sub 16. Like
Oh,
very
wow.
wide ranges.
Yes,
So yeah,
that's
I
great.
had a guy ask me about trying to he's like a 16:45K guy. He wants to break 16 this year. He doesn't have a coach. And he's like I've just been running like 55 miles a week and I'm like, well, I feel like there's just like a ton of unlocked potential there.
Hmm.
So,
No doubt, no
especially
doubt.
without a coach and just like, just doing what's kind of he can find online. Maybe we can put our heads together and try to get him under 16.
100%. I mean, if he was able to get down to 1640 off of no coach, just running whatever felt right at 55 miles a week,
Mm.
lots, I agree, lots and lots of potential there. That's awesome that there's that big of a range of people interested. It's great.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, more so on the couch to 5K, which that is kind of my specialty because that's what I coach at Fleet Feet
Yeah.
is the couch to 5K program.
Mhm.
So I feel like I'm good at helping that level of runner. But it's also good for me to coach that 16-minute 5K guy or that person trying to break 3 in the marathon because that's who I am.
Yeah, I was about to say
Like
it's you right
then I'm
now.
just
That's
right. So that's just me coaching like a version of myself,
yeah.
especially when this is a male athlete. So it's
Yes.
it's it's a bit easier for me to
Hmm.
relate to that than
Yeah.
a female athlete. But also dealing with some female athletes as well, helping them helping a female get ready for a half marathon. Really excited about that. And yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome. Super
anyways,
exciting.
yeah, last week episode, we kind of mentioned that we do a little training recap, and I dropped the bomb on Silas that I hired a coach because look, every runner needs a coach, right? Like I can't just
100%.
coach myself. Like it's not gonna
Yes.
happen. So I hired a coach and David Roach, and used his training plan this week. I'm actually, Silas, not supposed to start till next week, so I did like technically a little course, a little week one preview this week, and I took 2 days off instead of the one that I'm supposed to take because I had a travel day.
Yes.
And I gotta say, man, it was such a great week. Like I just like got in all quality miles. My legs just felt amazing. Like there was pop back in my legs that I hadn't had for a couple of weeks, just because I was overtraining and just running miles just to run miles, and to just be so much more methodical about it, but still having a couple days where it was a workout, where I basically did like a little fartlek on Tuesday with a mile at VO2.
Hmm.
Like, so happy with that day. And then I did a 16-mile long run outside a couple of days ago, and I hadn't done more than 12
Hmm.
outside in the past couple of months. So obviously just being rested was good enough for me to feel good. I'm really excited to dive in fully week one, because next tomorrow is 12 weeks out from the DC marathon, and I'm really excited to just fully commit to these next 12
Hmm.
weeks and really get back in shape. But I gotta say, Koros, my watch, is saying I'm already in way better shape than I was for the half. So if that's my starting point, then
And
who knows?
importantly, you had fun, right? I mean, it sounds like you had a great time this week. I was looking at your Strava
I
and I
did have
noticed.
a
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead. Go
The
ahead.
joy is back. The joy is back for
That's
sure.
great. Glad to hear it. And I was looking at your Strava. I noticed that you did take a little dip in miles to kind of. I was wondering why. And now I understand you were preparing for what's coming. Like you're starting a little early, just getting a preview. The week looked
Yeah.
great. You had a very similar week to me. You just outdid me on the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It looked
Yeah.
like a
I just
very,
had,
very solid week.
yeah, I didn't I don't technically have to start till next week, so I just kind of wanted to ramp up, and I was due for a deload anyways, so it
Yes,
kind of
yes, you
worked
were, no
out.
doubt. Yeah, so that's really, really
Um,
good.
so yeah, how has things been going for you?
So I added in a couple new things to my training this week, and if y'all were listening last week, you remembered that I said I had a big workout coming this week. So I had 7 to 10 by
Oh,
K, and I ended up doing 8 and
oh
just
shoot.
8. So 8 by K, 2 minutes rest out on the track. It felt pretty good considering the fitness I was at the beginning of the week, and it was super humid, hot, whatever. So I averaged about 340 a K on those, which is about 550-mile pace. Not where I would normally be, but for the time of the year, I was happy about it. Then later in the day, this is another new thing I did. I did an elliptical double because Coach Callahan suggested that I do.
Elliptical.
Yes, I did elliptical. So I did that and just I was gonna do 30 minutes, but I hit 25 on the elliptical in my gym, and then it started making some loud noises. I could tell it hadn't been used like I was using it in a while, so I just got off of it before I broke it.
Yeah.
And
You were making sweet, sweet love to that elliptical, and it hadn't felt that in quite a long
yes,
time.
it had not had the experience of a Silas McManus use in a long time. But it was Koros was praising me after I did 8 by K and elliptical double. And then that was on Tuesday, and then I had a recovery day in the middle. And on Thursday, I had a tempo run, just 4 miles, nothing crazy. I went 4 miles, about 608 mile pace with about 200 feet of gain across the
Hmm.
4 miles. Pretty good. And then the 13-mile long run to
Hmm.
close out the week to get to 57 in 6 days. Started at about 8 minute pace and ended at about 650. It was really, really good. Great week. Best week I've had so far.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. And Silas, don't am I wrong in saying that the next time we have a podcast, are you gonna be at college?
I am. I'm moving to college in 4 days. So this Thursday, I'm going
Oh,
to be
how are you
headed
feeling
to.
about that?
Oh, it's gonna be different, but
Excited?
I'm
A little
excited.
scared?
Yeah, a little bit. I went out and dorm
You gonna
shop
have to
today a
sneak
little
away to
bit.
film this podcast, or
No, my roommate is getting there a week after I am, so I'll have an empty room for the first week at college. But after that, I'm gonna have to
And
start.
second week, you'll have to find an office or something.
Yeah, reserve a spot in the library or something like that. In a room
Yeah.
that's got a closed door or something like that. But I'll figure it out.
Well, if it's any help, in a couple of weeks, I'll be done with the musical, and we won't have to film at 10:30 anymore.
That
So
is also
there's at
true.
least that. We
But
can
it's part of
film
what
at a
makes it
little bit
fun.
more of a
Yeah,
reasonable time.
yeah,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna be filming until midnight and on Eastern time. So,
yeah. Well, I'm in
but
Central Time, so
all
it's not a
good.
big deal to me.
Um, Sure, sure. And you're staying central, so Alabama. So I'm actually, Silas, I'm making plans to come see one of your races in October. So I'm
I
excited
heard about
to watch
this. I'm excited about that.
A Division 1 cross country race, and I'll probably bring my girlfriend down too, so it'll be a good time.
It's gonna be awesome.
Lot to talk about this week, Silas. We're gonna be talking about BadWater 135 for the majority of the time. So me and Silas were keeping up on that, texting each other throughout. Very big ultra marathon. So excited to finally talk about an ultra marathon, Silas. I feel like the past two episodes have been all your world,
I
all
know, I
ovals,
know.
all track. It's time for me to shine. It's time
Yep.
for me to talk about something that is more my speed. Finally, I know more than you a little bit. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know, maybe you'll show me up. But yeah, we're gonna talk about BadWater, some controversy, some triumph. BadWater was packed full of it. Of course, mostly gonna be talking about Max Jolliffe. But of course, congratulations to everybody that ran BadWater 135 this year. That is one of the hardest ultra marathons you can do. It's one of the first marathons me and Silas knew about, thanks to Joshua Holmes. He's ran it like 10
Yep.
times, I think. And so me and Silas grew up knowing about BadWater only. And
Yep.
so, of course, really cool to now be real fans of the ultra marathon trail running kind of world, and to actually keep up with BadWater, although it was kind of hard to keep up with it sometimes. But we'll talk about that.
We'll get to that.
Then we'll have a conversation about clean sport, a lot of clean sport, doping kind of topics, and that'll be kind of juicy. And then we'll get back to talking about track. We'll talk about some college eligibility stuff. We'll talk about Commonwealth. We'll brush up against that a little bit. If we have time, we'll get to shoe news. Definitely going to talk about Morton, and then a longer Q&A where we actually had some listeners who are officially on the Track Hack training plans that have questions about the training plans and just running in general. So me and Salas are going to get to that. We have some Track Hack listeners in the live chat right now, and hopefully you guys are listening later on. So shout out to the Track Hack Discord members. We'll make a Patreon probably starting next week where you can join that. It will also be free. We'll only put the training plans behind a paywall. We'll still allow you to ask questions on the Patreon. So why don't we get into talking about BadWater 135? So if you guys don't know about BadWater, BadWater is basically an 135-mile race through Death Valley, which is this really hot stretch of
Hot.
road.
Yes.
Really hot stretch of road in California. Temperatures this year were 120 degrees. People have to switch out shoes because the rubber is melting off of the bottom.
Yep.
And it goes from the lowest point in the continental United States all the way up to Mount Whitney. So a massive elevation change. You don't really think about that because it's a road ultra. It's an ultra ran on the side of the road. You typically think elevation changes more with mountain running and trail races, but this is less technical running and more still dealing with the heat
Hmm.
and a massive elevation gain. The last 20 miles have like a crazy amount of elevation gain. It's basically all uphill in the last 20 miles. Um, Max Jolliffe won the BadWater 135. Silas, had you heard of Max Jolliffe before this?
Yes, I had because
Mm.
I love BPN. I'm a huge
Oh,
advocate for BPN. So I would
okay.
always, they had this ad that they ran, and it was Max
Really?
Jolliffe. Think he was running a marathon, and then it was
He
him using
ran
BPN subs.
2:33,
So yeah, so that
which
was
is
the first
crazy
I
for
had
an
heard.
ultra
Oh,
marathoner.
it's
Just
it's unbelievable. I mean,
it's less
he's
crazy. It's less crazy if they're like 100 milers or
yeah,
50K guys. He's a 200-mile guy
yeah.
running a
Yeah,
2:33,
but he can
which
drop
is just
down. He really can. It's
yeah.
ultra impressive. So yeah,
Mm.
that's where I first heard of him, and then I had kind of kept an eye on him all the way up to this point, and obviously I was very invested in what he was doing for BadWater, as he's a tank. I mean, you got to watch him. He's
Did you keep up with Cocodona at all?
I did not. I
Okay, well, basically, I'll give you the rundown. At Cocodona, he had just come off of he won this race called the Moab 240 in
yes,
2024. There's a whole documentary
yep.
about it called The
King
King
of
of Moab.
Moab. Yep,
It's probably the best running ultra documentary that's out there, actually.
yep,
Just the nature of the race and the way it's filmed. He's a great storyteller. He's not quite like an ultra running goat, like he's not quite in that conversation, but he's so mainstream because he's such a great storyteller and also an amazing athlete as well. But he's only been running the 200-mile distance for a year and a half now. So he's still an ultra 200 plus marathon baby, like he
yeah,
just kind of got into this, but the fact that he's so good already is crazy. But there's this documentary called The King of Moab where he won the Moab 240. And so this recent year in Cocodona, where Rachel and Tricken obviously won with a course record, he was also an entry too, and obviously a lot of eyes are on him because it's a very similar kind of deal to Moab. It was a little cooler though, and so he had some freak hip injury and had to pull out like 70 miles in.
yeah,
So he was coming off of a DNF, so there was a lot of question marks going into BadWater. But Max has always been known as a heat monster. Like he just
yes,
is really good at dealing with the heat. Like, and that's kind of what helped with Moab is that that was a very hot race
yep,
and he did very good at keeping cool, and he also just has a great team too where
yep.
they're all keeping him cool too. We'll get more into the gear and stuff later, but yeah, that's kind of the thing with Cocodona. But had you seen anything else from BPN? I saw like a couple videos that they made
Um,
about his training.
I hadn't really tapped into it too much because I pay a lot of attention to BPN athletes, but I hadn't seen as much on Max Jolliffe, which was kind of surprising because now when I think of BPN athletes, he's the first that comes to mind because he's like you said, he's a great storyteller, he's a great athlete. There's so much drawing you to him, but I hadn't really seen too much from him until now. And King of Moab I had seen because of you. So
Yeah, King of Moab's one of the best running documentaries. I watched it before my half that or a couple months ago, and
it's a
it
great
it
motivator.
got me hyped. Yeah,
Yep.
it gets you hyped. So if you need a running documentary to watch, take our recommendation right now. Watch King of Moab. If you haven't watched it yet, quit watching this podcast because I mean King of Moab is really good. But we'll talk a little bit about the prep. If you watch some of the BPM videos, he prepped for BadWater, training on the roads at night, getting used to night running because BadWater starts at 10 o'clock at night. And
Yep.
so
10
half
p.m.
of the race is running on the roads at night, which can be precarious, a little dangerous, and it's also a different skill in itself because it's not
Yep.
as hot at the start. It gets hot
Yep.
like 10 hours into the race, right? So he practiced running at night. He used the Core Heat suit, which is basically a sauna suit. It's just you can get on the feet if you want to look at it. It's very expensive, but makes you sweat a lot. So he did a lot of heat training there, overdressing on his runs.
Yep.
Basically, just did 3 months straight of heat training to get ready for this. And then during the race, his team strategy, his wife is the chief, Mackenzie Jolliffe, which we're going to talk about later. I actually talked to Mackenzie Jolliffe on TikTok, and she had some things to say to me, but we'll talk about that. They were stuffing ice down his like arm sleeves. I think he was wearing an ice bandana, but Satisfy, who he's sponsored by, very expensive running brand, had like this kind of pockets in his clothes to stuff ice as well. So he was constantly getting ice down and wearing this ultra like crazy material that kept him very um cool as well. So very heat resistant stuff. In terms of the gear that he wore, I was like he wore the Prime Evo X, which is technically an illegal shoe on USATF races. Obviously this isn't a USA
Yep.
like certified race, so he could wear that. That's the shoe that Adidas had that broke the 100-kilometer world record. a few months back. So he wore that, but then finished in the Vomero Plus.
It's the shoe. It's the best. I'm telling you, there's nothing that competes with it. I love it. I can't blame him. I mean, it's it's really good for the roads too. So when you're doing a road ultra, I can understand that choice for sure.
Interesting to see him switch up and into the shoe for the climb. Maybe he thought
Yeah.
it was gonna give him more pop, switching out after 100 miles and then switching to the Vomero Plus for the last like 20
Yeah.
on that elevation. So he did spend a little bit more time than you usually would want to with the Vomero Plus. But hey, it worked for him, so it worked. Ends up winning. He's the first person to go under 21 hours in the Badwater 135 with a course record of 20:53:41. He beat the course record by 40 minutes. Course record was set in 2019. And yeah, he absolutely smashed it.
Hmm.
But Silas, it was a question of was he even going to win, and he
Oh, I
still
know.
smashed the course record. It was extremely close. One of the closest ultra marathons we are getting fed this year with Western States and Badwater of these being extremely close races, coming down basically to the last 10 miles
Hmm.
of this race. Max took the lead with 20 miles to go. He beat out Tomas Bodis on the final climb, who was one of the favorites to win.
Yep. And Gideon was texting me for the whole race about this over and over. He was like, "All right, Max is getting closer. He's cutting it down, because
Yeah.
for a while, like he was pretty far back, and like then it was really far back, and we were getting worried because we were rooting for Max to win. This is
Mhm.
it was he was our guy in this race." And then he cut it really close when it was cutting down to the final wire. I was like, I don't know if he's going to be able to get this done. And then he finally made that push, and he didn't look back. I mean, he just
Yep.
it was unbelievable, and it was so fun to watch, but it was also nerve wracking because with the way it was, you were only getting an update every whenever they would hit a checkpoint, so you couldn't see it as it was happening. You had to wait for the results to come in, and then see you had to do the math, see how close they were. But every time it just felt like he was just slowly strategically moving up. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, he started out in like fourth and then
Hmm.
kind of dropped back like
Yep.
like 10 to 15 spots.
Yep.
And then you're getting worried. It's like, oh, it looks like he's fading. But then he
Yeah.
started gaining a lead back. So then you're like,
Hmm.
oh shoot, like he's looking good. Then ultimately comes back in the final 20 miles and overtakes the guy, and he never walked the whole
Yep.
time, never
Yep.
walked, not once. And so he obviously passed Thomas Bodis while he was walking on the uphill.
Yep.
And I guess I not a lot has been said about Max Jolliff's uphill running, but obviously did very good on this uphill climb on the roads. I didn't know that he was like an uphill specialist, but seemed to really figure it out here.
Yeah.
So very interesting to see. There's just such a little sample size, so I don't know what Mac's strengths are other than the heat right now.
Yeah.
So really cool to see him get up there and do it, and especially to have a bounce back race like this, winning something like Badwater 135, a very high profile ultra marathon, and to come and win that after a DNF, after actually a couple DNFs, because he
Hmm.
also DNF'd like a 200 miler before. So had not been having the greatest year since Moab, and then comes back and wins the Badwater 135. Puts himself right back into contention to be one of the trail runners of the year. We'll see what you know later this year has to offer. I don't know if he has anything on the docket yet, but yeah, you touched on this a little bit, but I was really surprised as to how hard it was to watch this race.
Yes.
But I mean, maybe we're a little biased because of Joshua. We've like known about Badwater
Yeah.
like since we were in what I was a freshman, you
And
were
I
like
was
in
in middle
sixth grade,
school.
like he was like, oh yeah, I won Badwater, or he's like, yeah, I ran Badwater, and I'm like, okay, like Badwater's an ultra marathon, like good to
Yeah.
know, but it's really like a low key race that doesn't have a lot of coverage. Never in my life would I think that I'm keeping up with a major sporting event, and the only way I can get updates is through Instagram stories.
Yeah. And you were sending them to me, and luckily his wife was very consistent on posting them, and she did a great job. But that shouldn't be your main resource to pay attention to a race, because you shouldn't have to put in that much effort to know what's going on. And a lot of the
Mhm.
time, like Gideon was the reason I knew what was going on in the race, because he was constantly sending me the stories so I could go look, and it was a little bit disappointing. I know you felt that way, but
Yeah,
I guess you just got to live with it.
I was disappointed in BadWater, and even some of the information they had was confusing. Like they
Hmm.
had that video where it's like our number one runner Ashley Paulson is coming through the mile 37 aid station when she wasn't the number one runner. It was just her bib number is
Yeah,
number one. So I
yeah,
was like, well, you're making it seem like she's in the lead. She's actually in seventh.
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, like where's the Max Jolliffe coverage? The reason BadWater had so much eyes on them, and I'll say it with full chest, the reason they had so much eyes on them this year is because of Max.
yeah,
Like
no
I
doubt.
would not have watched BadWater if it wasn't for Max. And I gotta say, they didn't make a fan out of me this year.
Nope.
I hope Max doesn't come back. I hope he doesn't run it again, and I hope he runs somewhere with more coverage. The Hard Rock 100 had better coverage
Yep.
than the BadWater 135, which is like we didn't even cover talking about the Hard Rock 100, and like shoot, maybe we should have, because it's like
Yeah, there would have been
gosh,
a lot
even yeah,
more
there would have been a lot more
opportunity.
video.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, that's the thing. Max Jolliffe is such a draw as well.
Yeah,
Not
he's one of
covering
the
him
I think
is
he's
a
top. I
crime.
think he's top 5 most popular ultra marathoners right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I mean, I completely agree. He's
Yeah.
just he's just one of those people that's so entertaining, even if you aren't super familiar with him.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's definitely a draw, but you can't draw anybody when there's nowhere to go to watch it. It was frustrating.
Yeah, and the rebuttal to that is like, well, like it's a legendary race. They
Yeah,
don't care if people are watching. They're just
kind of
running it
tradition.
because
Yeah,
yeah, it's like, I'm like we're treating this like it's the Barkley marathons in the mountains of Tennessee where like
yeah.
it's an invite only kind of thing. Like no, like this is a popular ultra marathon. Ultra marathoning is at the peak of its popularity right now. It keeps
Yep.
getting more and more popular. Western states this year helped it. It had pretty good coverage. Still wish
Hmm.
it could be a little bit better, but like it had pretty good coverage, had the most viewers they ever had. And then you get to BadWater, which is kind of the next, big thing in the ultra marathon world. We have CCC coming up, but like this is kind of another big thing and just freaking nothing, man. Like
Yep.
there was just no coverage at all, which is crazy to me. But I talked about that with Max's wife on TikTok, and we'll get to that later.
Yep.
Satisfy Gear came out with basically a rundown of the race because we couldn't really see what was going on. We
Yep.
were getting updates from the trackers, but even that was wrong. And then the most reliable thing was Max's crew, his wife taking videos. So that was the only way I was getting updates. But I mean, they were, every couple of hours. So
Yeah. No doubt.
this is a statement from Satisfy. Lock in. This is kind of a long one.
Yep.
Nobody had ever run BadWater in under 21 hours. Satisfy Pro athlete Max Jolliffe did it on his debut, winning the race in 20:53:41, 135 miles from BadWater Basin, the lowest point in North America, to the Whitney Portal Trailhead at 8,360 feet. 14,600 feet of climbing across 3 mountain ranges, 39 minutes and 20 seconds under Yoshihoko Ishikawa's 6-year record. He started at 10 p.m., third wave out, the pavement still holding at 118 degrees Fahrenheit an hour after sunset. 15 runners passed him in the first mile. That was the plan: hold conservative through the first flat 40, while faster runners spent themselves on a pace they couldn't keep up. Early on, his stomach refused the volume the heat demanded he take in. By mile 45, he dropped 15 positions and was wrestling the thought of giving the night away. Then came Stovepipe Wells in the first climb, and his legs answered before his head caught up. He took back 7 places on that climb alone, then hunted the field on every incline the course had left, putting 10 to 15 minutes into whoever he passed. 90 miles of trading the lead with this year's female winner, Carmen Maria Perez, never more than a minute apart through Panamint, Darwin, and Keeler. She took every flat and every descent, max every climb. The kit was built for this and to target heat pressure relief. A pro model vest, iterated to max specification and loaded at every chance with ice. Full heat crush, trademark, underneath, activating on contact with this perspiration. Japanese mesh that pulls moisture outward and heat off the skin with it, cooling deeper with growing effort. Death Valley air is dry enough to steal sweat before it can do the work, so the crew did it by hand, soaking the kit every mile and a half once the sun reached full strength. 50 soft flasks frozen the night before cycled through his palms to cool his hands before he drank them. At the base of Whitney Porter Road, 4,500 feet of climbing in the final 12 miles, Max found Tomas Bodis walking. He grunted a promise to himself not to walk a single step, and he didn't. He went deep into the well and ran him down the incline. From theirs, it was his. BadWater, Batman, congratulations, Max.
And is there any better sales pitch as to their technology? I mean, because he was able to hold up in clearly miserable conditions. I mean, that was,
Hmm.
I know that was long, but I loved hearing that. That was awesome.
Well, maybe I can dissuade you from buying the Satisfied gear. It's like $500 for a shirt.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to buy it because that's above my pay grade. But if I'm Max Jolliffe, yeah, yeah, and I'm one of their runners. Oh, yeah, it's definitely
Satisfy
the
stuff
stuff to
looks
use.
great. Satisfy stuff looks great, but man, it is overly expensive. I don't
Yeah.
think I'll ever get behind that brand just because they charge way too much. Like the profit margins on their crap has to be insane. The only way you can get a consistent stream of Satisfy stuff is if you're Max Jolliffe because you're getting it for free.
Yep. Yep. I mean, because, well, yeah, there's nothing else to say. The price can be crazy, but then again, like you said, you're Max Jolliffe and you get it for free. It's
Yeah, I mean, it looks like good stuff. I think there is better cooling stuff on it. Like, I think the Nike thing with the holes in it probably cools you
Yep.
a little bit better. I don't know. I'd have to try both and see. I definitely plan on getting my hands on the Nike Airflow when I can. But yeah, the ice obviously helps. People were accusing that of being a way to cheat, like using the ice vest. But obviously they like checked all the regulations before. There's
Yeah.
nothing against stuffing your shirt with ice. Like people have done that all the time. They just made a shirt specifically for that.
Yeah. Well, and it's a safety thing too. So making something illegal to do in race that would limit safety measures to keep the runner cool would be insane. I mean, it would be dangerous. So people saying that's cheating doesn't line up in my head to me. Like staying cool in 120 degrees, that is the goal to keep running, in this, especially in races this long.
Yeah, I mean the kit wasn't illegal. The shoe was illegal. Did you
Yeah.
have a problem with that, or did you think like it doesn't matter? It's a 100-mile race.
Yeah, here that's exactly what I was about to say. If you're running 135 miles, the shoe you wear makes so little difference in my mind because it's about that mental toughness to run the 135 miles.
Sure.
It Nobody could have done what he did, you know, just because I think he's so tough. Like he said, he thought about giving in the middle of the night, and then he was able to rally and keep going. And that wasn't because of his shoes. That was because of who he is and the fitness that he's in. So no, the shoe does not matter to me at all.
Okay. Yeah. I really didn't care either. I think we should, as long as it's not like a shoe with jetpacks on it, I think it should
Yeah,
be legal. I don't
I
have a
agree as
problem
well.
with cuz I'm like to me I'm like I look at the Evo 3 and I look at the Adidas Evo X and I'm like honestly like not that crazy of a difference. Like it's
Yeah,
kind of the same shoe. I'm like and like if that can propel humans forward and have them run faster, I'm all for it. But it's all good. Anyways, Mackenzie Jolliffe came out with a video after talking about Max's win, and there was a little bit of controversy where he finished. They pulled the tape away from him before he could break the tape. Apparently, they reuse the BadWater tape for every person that finishes. A little confusing because the entry fee to this race is like $1,000, and it's
yeah,
like are you kidding me? If I just won and set the course record, I can't even take the tape home?
yeah. I mean, I would be furious. It's such a feat in there. Like, oh no, you can't have your moment after doing something that nobody has done before. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's
Yeah, he seemed a little confused by it.
yeah,
And I think
Naturally.
maybe the mask might have slipped a little bit when he finished. But then his wife came out with a video being like, "Hey, like it's all good. Like that they reused the tape. It's fine." She also defended the poor coverage, being like, "Hey, like it couldn't get good coverage." I did put my 2 cents in her Instagram comments. I used my blue check mark to say something because I knew she would see it because I have a blue check mark on TikTok. And I said this. I said it costs $0 to hire a videographer. It's tough because Max made this race mainstream. So I guess it was expected that there would be some coverage. BadWater to me is one of the bigger ultras, so I was surprised not to be able to keep up properly with the race.
Yeah.
Which that is how I feel. I feel like if you got any ultra marathon fan, heck, Morning Coffee, this other TikToker with like 100,000 followers, was like, I would have gone out there, filmed it for free.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like there's a lot of ultra fans that would have like just like been like, hey, I'll live stream it, just like let me out on the course.
Yeah.
But and then, yeah, the stream was bad, and I thought there would be some coverage. The only thing you got was like a little vertical check in at the points sometimes. That I
Sometimes.
couldn't even see any of it.
Hmm.
Like I was keeping up with it on Instagram. Anyways, I got a response from Mackenzie Jolliffe, Max's wife. She responded to me, and I was like, okay, podcast goal. We're gonna use this.
Yep, no doubt.
She
Super
said it's
exciting.
iconic and legendary, but it's a small race, 100 people each year, and it does cost money to hire videographers, especially for the attention and amount of people you would need to man a race of this distance and time. On top of that, filming would have to happen from the side of the road in a car following crews and making things more jammed up and dangerous. Max and I love the sport, but not everything is going to have media coverage. Some of the races hold a legacy and aren't interested.
I, at some point, you gotta get with the times. I
Yeah,
mean, and I respect it. I think it's very classy what she's doing, defending the race,
sure.
and no matter what, defending the tape pool, the poor coverage, whatever. I think it's very classy. But it's time to get some coverage. There were
Yeah,
a lot of people. I know we weren't the only ones that were wanting to watch this race.
yeah.
So they're being limited to no coverage. Yeah, it's got to change if they want this race to grow, which I don't know if they do. But if they want
Mm.
it to grow, they need to start having better coverage for sure.
Yeah, it was disappointing, the coverage for sure. I wasn't expecting Western States level of coverage, but I was expecting at least like a check in at every aid station and
Yeah.
just being able to keep up with who was in the lead. I seriously could not tell who was in the lead. Like Silas, genuinely, I thought Ashley Polson had the lead for like 80 miles because that's who they kept showing was that
Yeah.
chick with pink hair.
Hmm. And you were texting me saying that, like,
Mm.
and I thought that was the case as well because how was I supposed to know any better? Like that's what it was, made out to be, and it turned out it wasn't the case at all. So yeah, it was a reasonable conclusion to come to, but there was no other way to go about it.
On the topic of Ashley Polson, I when everybody thought she was in the lead,
Yeah,
because a lot of people thought she was in the lead, people
a
were like,
lot.
"Why isn't she in this race?" And I was like, "Well, I had heard about her before because a couple months ago she set the women's 100-mile world record.
Hmm.
So set that as a 44-year-old woman,
Yep.
which automatically to me, I'm going, wee woo, wee woo,
Yep.
wee woo.
Flags
You're a
are
44,
flying. Like
yeah, you're a
yeah.
44-year-old woman who just set a world record in 100 miles, which is still like pretty fast. I think she averaged like a 650 or something. She was running Badwater and Alpha Flies, by the way. She actually collapsed. Did you see that? She collapsed and like
No,
blacked out for a second.
no, I did not see that. I also didn't know she was running in alpha flies.
Yeah,
That's
she was
very,
running an
very
Alpha Flies. She like
interesting.
only wears these pink Alpha Flies. It's
Okay.
yeah.
That might not be the
Anyways,
wisest choice, but anyways, go ahead.
I did some digging, Silas,
Okay.
and this, obviously this is a triathlon, ultra marathon girl, and we're kind of new to the scene. But she is. Do you know she is unable to run Western States 100 miles because she has had a doping violation?
That it's news to me because I wasn't aware of who she was before. So
Yeah.
no, I did not know that.
On September 14th, Paulson tested positive for ostarine, a prohibited selected androgen receptor, during an out of competition urine sample provided by USADA. She accepted a 6-month suspension, and her legal counsel maintained the positive result was due to contamination. USADA investigated, tested her supplement, and confirmed it was contaminated, resulting in the reduced 6-month penalty instead. In addition to the short suspension, she was stripped of all competitive results, medals, points, and prizes dating back to September 14th, which included losing her age group win in Ironman. Also, she transitioned heavily into ultramarathons in 2020. Her entry into major races caused friction due to her sanction. After winning the women's division at the 2020 Bear 100, a lot of people criticized her inclusion. Ultramarathon advocates pointed out that multiple elite events enforce strict zero-tolerance policies regarding performance-enhancing drugs, prompting intense debate over whether athletes with past sanctions should be barred from non-Olympic community-governed trail races.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense why this would be controversial, especially given the fact that most people watching this race, probably almost everyone, thought she was in the lead. So having somebody that you think is doping coming out and being in the lead, and honestly, I thought she was in the lead by like a pretty significant amount. So hearing this, I immediately, yeah, 100% alarm bells were going off for sure. It's
Well, she has the women's course record at BadWater. She
yeah,
finished third overall, won the race outright against men and women. She won in 2023. She beat men and women in
yeah,
2023 and lowered her course record, the women's course record, to 21:44. That's like that was like 20 minutes off of the normal course record too.
yeah,
And people were pointing out that she was outperforming her past like ultra marathoning competitions as like a 42-year-old, and they're saying, well, like she has a history of doping, even if she's
yeah,
claiming that it was contaminated.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
and even if it were true that it was contaminated too, it would still, yeah, it definitely gives you reasons to wonder. At least, I think it's fair to at least question it a little bit because this would be like a role player in the NBA randomly when they turn 40 turning into an all NBA player. It would definitely raise some question marks for sure because what she's doing is
yeah,
insane.
yeah, the fact that at some point you can't fight biology anymore, and
Yeah,
a 44-year-old woman should not, 45 now, and a
yeah,
grandmother should not be able to set course records without the help of like performance enhancing drugs.
yeah. I
So
agree.
I'm not a fan of her being in these competitions, but like she's barred from high profile events because she has a USADA ban.
Yeah,
So it's just because BadWater is lower profile that they
yeah,
don't care.
yeah.
But that's the whole argument. There's a big stink in the ultra marathoning community right now regarding Cam Hanes, a 60-year-old who openly admits to taking steroids, and he's
Hmm.
also competing in these ultra marathons too. And he's open about the fact that he's on steroids, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a 60-year-old man. I need to take testosterone so I can like keep up my performance." And it's like if we are having like we're not testing these guys because they're not considered elite,
Yeah,
and like so like where's the line, you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, just because you're a lower profile runner, you're not going out and breaking any records, and you're not winning races. It's still not right. I think we can all
Mhm.
agree it's still not right to use performance enhancing drugs, and also it's not safe. So discouraging it for no matter the speed, it's better for everyone. The people using it, the people they're going against. It just is logical to me, but I guess not everybody agrees.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a little safer to take quote unquote steroids in
Yeah.
2026 than it was in 2015.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you're just taking things like peptides or
Yeah.
testosterone, and I think that's all that Cam Hanes is saying that he's taking for
Yeah.
these things. So I guess there's a way to kind of be safe about it. But the problem is that it does then beg that question of like, okay, but like, where do we draw the line though?
Yeah.
because it's like Cam Haynes is like placing third at like decently large marathons as a 60-year-old,
Yeah.
and it's like now it's getting to the point where you're messing with prize money.
Hmm. Yeah, and if you're, I mean, you know my opinion. I think if you're in any races, you shouldn't be able to do this. But if you're winning prize money like he is, yeah, you shouldn't, because you're taking that away from somebody else. That's the issue.
Mm.
Somebody who likely isn't using these, testosterone or peptides or whatever to enhance themselves, and so
Yeah. Anyways, overall, sum up BadWater. For me, like fun to keep up with because of Max, but I'm not sure I want to watch again.
yeah, I don't think I will next year. It was too
Yeah.
much of a hassle.
Yeah. I was like, why am I putting in so much work to try to watch this thing?
100%. Because with Hans Troyer at oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the name. Please interrupt me.
Western States?
At Western States, my brain froze. At Western States, it was no problem. I mean, the
Mm.
coverage was so good that I wanted to watch it. It
Mm.
was it was drawing me in, and there were tens of thousands of people watching it with me. I mean, every time I would check in, there'd be 12,000 people watching. So that shows you the difference for sure. And I will
Yeah.
not
I
be
mean,
tuning in again.
even Western States, they could even improve a little bit because, like, it's not
Hmm.
the camera isn't on the leaders at all times. Like, you
No.
still go through patches where they're under tree cover and we can't really keep up with them and like stuff like that. And maybe we
Yep.
could get a little bit more trail cameras and stuff like that. So I don't know. Even that could be better. But the fact that it was just like a drone shot and a camera at every major aid station, like that was enough.
Yeah, that I was pleased. I was pleased.
Yeah,
I
and they had a
understood
guy
that
on
it
a
wasn't
bike, which was
perfect,
also
but
good.
the effort was there, and I respected that.
Yeah, yeah. They had it together. But yeah, anyways, happy to cover Badwater, but more excited to cover more ultra marathons coming up in the future. We got CCC, that's Hans Troyer. Some other major ultra marathoners, the big dogs, are going to be at CCC, trying to punch a golden ticket into Western States next year. That's
Yes.
coming up in just a couple of weeks. Super excited about that. Stoked to see Hans and some other guys doing some mountain running. Hans and the Hoka team are in France right now. I don't know if
Yep.
you knew this, but they're training in France right now. So super cool to see all the content coming out there. Hoka just released a documentary about Vincent Bulliard and the whole Hoka team going sub 14.
Yep.
Great watch. I watched it on the treadmill this morning. Really fun. They kind of highlight everybody as they dropped out and then ultimately focusing on Francesco Pupi and Vincent Bulliard coming first and second.
Yep.
What a great time. I loved revisiting that and like made me fans of some European ultra marathoners that I wouldn't have known before. But
Yeah.
like now I'm a fan of Francisco Pupi and I think he
Yep.
has a huge future. That was
Yep.
his first 100 miler and like
Yeah.
to
I
just
mean,
see his
what a
mentality
debut.
through that. But you can't ask for a better debut. Second place in he under the course record, under the
Yeah.
previous
Yeah.
course record,
100%.
only
Majorly
losing by like
impressive.
3 minutes as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, and there was a lot of the time I thought he was going to win. So, you
Yeah,
know,
I think he might be at CCC too. He's the defending champ, I think, so that'll be fun. Or Vincent Bulliard's the defending champ, so that'll be fun. Moving on to track and some eligibility issues. 24-year-old Kenyon has joined Texas. So the University of Texas has officially signed 24-year-old Kenyan distance running phenom Dennis Kiptagai to their track and field and cross country program. Silas?
yeah, I would love to comment on this. So I'm turning 19 in early September. My
Mm-hmm.
first my first race of college, I'll be one day into being 19 years old.
Okay.
This guy will also be a freshman, and
He
he,
turns 25 this week, by the way.
yeah, he turns 25 this week. He will be 6 years older than me
Yeah.
in his first race than I
Yeah.
am in mine, and we're in the
Mm.
same class. So it's frustrating. I mean, and the problem is there's a rule change on this already. It's been very clearly laid out, but we're still having people coming in who are going to be grandfathered in. And is he going to be able to stick around for the 5 and 5 rule? Because if so, this new eligibility rule change is not going to really go in effect in 2027. That's my issue with this. If he's able to stick around for one year, I understand it a little more, although it's still crazy to me. But having a guy who is going to be the favorite to win the cross country national title this year,
Yeah.
it blows my mind because he's going to be a freshman, a true freshman. Whether how true it is up for debate, but a true freshman being the favorite to win cross country, professional runner, has won these pro races, paced half marathons, and looked like he was easing off the gas a little bit to get second because he was a pacer. Neither here nor there. It's frustrating as somebody who is coming in as a freshman who competes against pro runners that are 6 years older now, and it's something. I don't know if you have anything to say. I know I just went on a whole
Is he gonna
spiel.
be? I have a question. Is he gonna be able to be in college at 29?
I think he is. I've seen some, sources say that he couldn't be, but they're not really reliable. I think the overall consensus is that he's going to be a 29-year-old when he's done, if he chooses to do so. Which, I mean, why wouldn't you?
I'll play
He's going to be
devil's
at the peak of his
advocate
power.
here and say, like, what's you in your opinion is the difference between this and the BYU guys going on their mission and then coming back?
I think it is a little different.
Okay.
I think they did make an exemption for religious missions in the new eligibility rule. Completely understand that. It was one of the few exemptions that they added to that. So the fact that that still carries on into this new era of eligibility makes it understandable for me. It's definitely an advantage because these guys get to be on mission for 2 years and train and improve like they would just without the races and losing eligibility. So it's definitely an advantage for BYU that only BYU is going to have. But it's not as crazy to me as bringing in professionals to be freshmen. So I think both are a little unfair, but then again, you do have the right to go on your religious mission as stated by the NCAA, which I respect. I think it's reasonable to protect that. So it's in my opinion, it's not so bad, but it is. I can see the argument against it.
Yeah, I mean, you see this problem across all sports. You got guys like Carson Beck, heck, like Diego Pavia, and
Mhm.
these guys in football who are able to play until they're dang near 30.
When they're
So
not
it's
even
like,
taking classes.
yeah, they're not even taking class anymore.
Mhm.
So it's like this isn't just a track issue, but it is
Yeah,
highlighted more in track because you're bringing in these African guys who have these blazing fast times. He is a professional runner. Is he
yeah, he
signed with
already
any
is.
brand?
I
Is he
I
Nike?
think I think he is. I'm not sure what brand, but I'm pretty sure he was signed with a professional brand. I'm not certain on
No,
which
well,
one
now at
though.
NAIA he still could be, so it's fine.
And also, let me be very clear. I'm not having any problem with Dennis Kipkegai himself. I would do the same thing if I were him. I completely understand being in his shoes. This is a great opportunity for him. It's not his fault. But the system is flawed. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So, not hating on the runner at all, hating on the system.
Yep. I love what did you write this? Does this add fuel to the fire for those who are in support of eligibility rule change, or is this the level of competition the sports now needs at the college level?
Oh yeah, I did write that. Yeah, that
You
was
wrote
me.
that?
Yeah, that you told me to add some stuff, so I
I
did.
forget.
That's
I forget you're such a great writer, Silas. I'm so far out of college and school that I'm like I couldn't write a sentence like that anymore. I'm too dumb.
that's the first thing I've written like that in probably 8 months, so don't
Uh,
get used to it.
all right. Well, yeah, we'll see about that one. He's coming in obviously as the heavy favorite. What does this do to Texas?
Texas, I mean, because Texas has had decent squads. They've never,
Been a
yeah,
little bad the past couple years
yeah.
though.
So bringing in a guy like this is huge. Will
Hmm.
this take them to compete with the Oklahoma States, the NAUs? No, I don't think so. But I think
Hmm.
let's say that he wins. NCAAs in cross country.
Yeah.
It's huge for their program. It's gonna bring people in that they would not have been able to get access to before. So it's not just a this year effect. I think it's also building on their future, even though obviously he's not going to be there forever. But I think this could be the stone that they're planning on building up their cross country and track programs on, for
All
sure,
right.
in their distance running.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see this play out. If he gets beat, what an embarrassment! It will be
Yeah.
in cross country. It will be an embarrassment. But obviously, gonna come in as one of the favorites to win cross country. Really, nobody like who else is gonna be a favorite in cross country? Who won last year?
Last year was Habtem
It
Samuel.
was Hampton Samuel, so he's
Yeah.
gone. So it's like the
And
the door
then
is
Rocky
open. So
Hansen.
yeah, maybe Rocky. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting, but. Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, let's move on to Josh Kerr and the Commonwealth Games. But before we get into that, a quick promo for HYK Energy. Make sure to go to hykenergy.com. Carbs are important, so are electrolytes. Go over to HYK Energy. They're about to do a restock up of their Summit Hydration Packs, which have 1,000 milligrams of sodium and 200 milligrams of caffeine. You can also get their normal hydration mix if you're just looking for an electrolyte sports drink. That is also a great tasting thing as well. It's my favorite, the strawberry lemonade. Go to hykenergy.com. Use code Gideon10 at checkout. I think they also have a code that gets you 40% off right now. So just to support them, go use the 40% off
That's
discount if
awesome.
it's still there. HYK Energy, friend of the podcast, big fan. Go check them out as well. So let's talk about Josh Kerr. Josh Kerr won the Commonwealth Games. We weren't surprised at that, but just really just kind of a, would you call this a victory lap?
I would, because
Okay.
look at the last lap. It was literally a victory lap. I mean, as soon as he broke free from that pack, he
Sure.
was he's cheering on the crowd, man. He's pumping his fists. He's feeling great. Yeah, it was a victory lap, and I feel like he came in knowing no matter what happened in this race, he was going to win.
Oh, to be able to fist pump and pump people up in the crowd and still run a 354 mile.
I know he is a tank. He is it. It was so fun to watch too. I mean, I absolutely loved it. It was great.
Yeah, so this was widely available to watch. We were actually able to watch this race.
Hmm.
Opening round, he cruises easy to victory.
Yep.
Him and Chariot go 1-2.
Hmm. Yep.
So straight into the final. He ran 358 for the first heat to get us himself an automatic qualifier.
Yep.
And I mean, sure, we keep on saying this with Josh Kerr races, but like still a very competitive field, Silas.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. The names in this race, and if you watched, I know a lot of people skip through the intros and races when they're watching them after the fact, but you go through. There's Timothy Chariot. There's Jake Whiteman. There's
Mm,
Cam Myers. I mean,
right.
the field was there. Multiple 340s guys. Obviously, Josh Kerr is the headline at 342, but this was not a slouch field. This was majorly impressive in my book. This kind of stamped me that he can win these, you know, championship
Championship
level races
races.
now. It
Yep.
it put me having a lot more confidence in him. I don't know about
Yeah,
you.
it
Did
was
you
the
feel that way?
question. Yeah, it was the question that we asked on the first episode of our podcast when
Yeah.
we covered the Josh Kerr world record, which we were going like, okay, yeah, he can run 342. How's he gonna be running these championship
Yep.
races where you have to have a heat? You're a little bit more tired. You're not gonna run a world record, and the finishing times are gonna look like they did, where it's like still fast at 354, but still like not it's not a 342. He
No.
was 12 seconds off his PB.
Yeah.
So asking the question that he can still win when it's tactical.
Hmm.
Lots of contact early on for Kerr as the pace in the opening stages of the race was slow. 202 through 800, bit different than his what,
One.
145 PR.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and whatever he ran, what he run 150 something.
150.8 through the
Yeah,
first 800, his world
150.8 through
record.
his through his world record, yeah. And he was boxed in, right?
Oh yeah, and he was getting pushed and shoved, At one point, I can't remember. I think it was Jake Whiteman had to step on the inside of the track. I mean, it was it was war out there. He was super boxed in. At one point, he had a line of five people, five across in front of him. Yeah, it was he was boxed in beyond belief. It was really nerve wracking to watch. Like I was wondering who's gonna fall, who's gonna clip a heel, but he managed to stay out of trouble, which was good for him.
Yeah, I love this question you asked in our script is was Kerr's record speed able to save his poor race tactics? So was it poor tactics or was he so patient given the fact that he knew he had a kick?
Is it bad to be the person who asked the question but say it's a little bit of both? Because he was able to sit, but and he waited just at the right time, flew out of the pack, pushed his way out a little bit, coming
Yeah.
up on the final lap, and closed like nobody's business. I mean, I think his final 200 was 25 seconds. First 200 of the last lap was 28:53 for the lap, but it does make you wonder. His speed was there in the final lap, but if anything else slightly went wrong, if he doesn't get that daylight at the beginning of that lap, does he win? I don't know. But I do think that his speed was able to cover for it. But I do think he did a better job than he had done before with his race tactics. I think we can both agree on that. But his closing speed was just unmatchable. I mean, but then again, that's part of playing into your abilities. So you know, he played his hand correctly. I will say that.
Yeah, I agree. I also think it was a little bit of both. Like he did get boxed in. It could have gone bad, but it
Yeah.
didn't. And I mean, he overcame it with the speed that we knew he had in his legs with a
Hmm.
53 final lap. Um, but and by the end, I mean, this wasn't close.
No, it was the gap grew so quickly in the last 200 meters. It was it was unbelievable because they were trying to chase him down, and they for a second there you thought, okay, maybe they'll be able to keep up. The whole field, it was Josh Kerr versus nobody in the last 200 meters. It was just how fast can I close this last 200 because I'm going to win. Like that's
Hmm.
all it was. There was never any debate after like 250, maybe 300 to go, maybe even 400 with how he was looking. Everybody knew Josh Kerr is going to win this race, but that's just how I felt.
Yeah, Timothy Cherryholt not looking like he has the past couple of years. Cam
No.
Myers not stepping up to the plate. I
Mm-mm.
mean, but is it that these guys aren't having a great year, or is it just that this is the year of Kerr?
I think this is the year of Kerr. And not just because of his world record and winning this race. I think he's intimidating everybody. I don't think anybody had the guts to even think that they could match him. I think they all came in fighting for second. That was the vibe on the starting line. Even Cam Myers, I don't know, his body language when he looked at the camera, he's trying to act like he's feeling good. It did not look convincing. He kind of looked like he was a little shaky. Now Josh Kerr was standing there, stone cold killer. I mean, he looked like Rocky out there. It
Yeah,
was, yeah, he looked like he was gonna win, and he obviously did.
mentality of Rocky, physique of Ivan Drago.
Yeah, the perfect mix. What more could
Yeah,
you ask for?
yeah. Just to not pull up with a calf injury is
Oh
apparently all
yeah,
you need.
that's fair. That is fair. Yeah.
But yeah, so great Commonwealth games for Josh Kerr. Now the question is just what's next because
Yeah.
nothing's on his calendar, so
Hmm.
it just will be interesting to see what's next for him. Whether he goes back to the drawing board, takes an off season. Indoors is still a couple months away, so will be interesting. Indoors will be his get back, so it'll be very fun to watch
Yep.
that. If that is his next thing, he's not really a guy that's super active, but it kind of works for him.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's so much of a showman that you have to kind of pace it out. You can't
Hmm.
you can't be this kind of you can't be Josh Curry year round. You have to you have to let your body recover at some point because you can't maintain this shape forever. People were wondering if he was gonna maintain this into Commonwealth games after what he
Hmm.
did at the mile world record at the Diamond League.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely. I would think he's gonna take a break, That's my personal stance. I also don't think he's too terribly worried about indoor, given what he has just done. I don't think he thinks he has anything to prove. But then again, like you said, he might want that redemption in indoor. So it'll be interesting to see if he does.
Yeah, it will be. Anyways, 3 podcasts in a row of us talking about Josh Kerr.
Can't get enough of it.
We'll see if we go into a fourth. Probably not. Hopefully one day we'll be able to talk about something else. Let's skip talking about shoes, Silas. We can save that for next week. The shoe news isn't needed, and it's New Balance, and I don't like New Balance, so I don't really
Hey,
care that
hey,
much.
don't diss New Balance. I love New Balance.
We're an
I
unsponsored podcast, Silas. I can say whatever I want about shoes, and I'm a shoe salesman. I can say what I want, and I probably have a more educated opinion than 99% of the population.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that. But my personal opinion, New Balance shoes are great.
Sure.
End of
Okay.
discussion.
Before we go on to our Q&A, let's talk about Morton. Silas, you've taken Morton. I've taken Morton. Morton has come out with a new liquid sports drink. Essentially, it's easier to get down than their gels, but a little bit thicker than their normal drink mixes. It's called Morton 480. That's going to be the calories. It's not a gel, but not a drink mix, and it goes into a 200 milliliter small flask, which is about half the size of a normal soft flask. It has 120 grams of carbs. So Morton getting into the high carb game now with 120 grams of carbs in a soft flask. Very cool. They have a gel flask where you can put 5 gels into a flask, and that makes it like 110. But it does seem a little easier just to buy this drink mix and to put it
Yeah.
in there and just drink it like water. I saw, if you guys know Nico Young, he just posted about it on his Instagram with the flask. Um, he gave it a good review. Obviously, he's sponsored by them. I'm
Yeah.
excited to try this. I'll try it next week because that's when I go back to work and I can try this new product from Morton. But Morton getting into the high carb game, you've got to think this is going to be the new move now that high carb has been shown to be the correct way to fuel
Yep.
your training. Is that these brands just keep trying to get more and more carbs in the most efficient way possible.
Yep.
Are you a fan of a drink mix during a run?
I Let me tell you something. So for my long run
Mm-hmm.
this Saturday, I
Yeah.
did 2 scoops of my G1M Sport, which I normally do one. So it ended up being like 40 grams of carbs, 700 milligrams of sodium, something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yep.
Um, I would have done so many things to have a Morton mix at like mile 7,
Yeah.
like just over halfway through. I haven't done it that often. I have done it occasionally. It helps. It is for sure worth it, especially with this amount of carbs. It's gonna get you through. I think it's fully worth it, and I think I'm really excited for this. Honestly, I'm excited for you to try it and see what you think. But
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know. Morton also has flavored tabs. If you don't like the taste of Morton,
yeah,
they have a cola thing that you can put in and dissolve, and it's cola. I think there's also a little bit of sodium in there too, and a green apple, I think.
Hmm,
But
didn't know that.
nobody really ever drinks Morton for the taste. It's because it is just so dang good when it
Yep,
comes to carbs.
it's
As far
performance
as
for sure.
mainstream gels, it probably is the best. That and BPN gels are probably the best. Of course, the gels individually are only 24 grams of carbs, which you think are high until you look at what you actually need. And in order to get to that 80 grams of carbs an hour, which is where peak performance kind of starts when it comes to long distance training, then you have to take almost 4 gels an hour instead
Yep.
of taking 2 fat ones. So
Mhm.
maybe this is where a sports mix comes into more play. We got to get Silas taking more carbs as well. He knows that though.
Yep, I know, I know. One day I'm going
Anyways,
to commit to it,
yeah.
even though
I'm
I
telling you,
know I already
Silas, just
should.
start taking some gels on your
Yep.
long runs.
Yep, I know. I'm gonna have to when I'm doing 15, or something out in the heat. Gotta fuel right.
You're
That's
doing
where I
right
can
with the
improve.
sodium. You're probably getting a
Yep,
proper amount of sodium. You're just a
yep,
little low on carbs, I think.
yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to our listener corner section. We got quite a bit of Q&A. We got some from the Track Hack Discord server that just started today. If you guys want to join, like I said, shoot me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. We'll get you in there. Me and Silas are both admins in there and can help you out daily if we need to, but we can also address your questions on the podcast. So hopefully one of your questions also applies to somebody else that's listening, and maybe we can help out someone else. But also we asked Instagram Q&A as well and got some questions from there. Some of them were jokes, like somebody said, "Do I like Freed Hardeman people or JCS people more?" And I was like, "Well, that's not even the same thing." I was like,
That might have came
that's
from
a
where
high
I
school."
reposted your thing. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
I was like, "Well, that's a high school versus a
A college.
Christian college where we
Yep.
live." But anyway, Sal's first question we got here, and this came from a listener on the Discord server. Any recovery tips post long run?
Okay. I think I might have said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. And then I'll give also a more technical answer. If you watch Tin Man Elite like me and Gideon have, Gideon put me on Tin Man Elite from a very early time in my running. They say all the time, nothing better after a good long run than a nice popsicle. And I live and die by it. It's it's not just for the sake of having something cool after a hot long run. There's a lot of
Sure.
sugar in popsicles traditionally, which is a carb that your body's going to easily be able to use for recovery. And that leads me into my more technical answer, which I've said before. We were speaking on Nico Young, live and die by the 3-to-1 carb to protein ratio within 30 minutes of a run. It's going
Oh
to
wow.
replace your carbs and protein, get them back in for your muscle recovery, get in electrolytes if you can. And like Gideon lives and dies by too. The high carb thing, it's not just during the run, it's not just before. Do it after too. It's yeah, any amount of fuel you can get in your body. Even if it's not that perfect 3-to-1, if it's 4-to-1 or 2-to-1, eat, eat, eat. Replace what you used. It will help you feel better and gain more from your runs by a lot.
Yeah, I know some people have the misconception that eating a lot after your run is kind of counterintuitive to, trying to make those gains. But the reason that we do high carb before, during, and after runs is so you can recover
Yeah,
properly. And also, like, you have to eat. If you're running as much as you should be running, then you have to properly fuel yourself. And it should be no problem because you should be hungry a couple hours after.
yeah,
Maybe you're the kind of person that doesn't get super hungry after a long run, and that's kind of where I fall in. And
yep,
that's where I kind of drank my calories. My hack is a big glass of chocolate milk.
yep,
I always do a big old glass of chocolate milk and a big old glass of Coke to
yep,
replenish carbs and sodium.
yep.
So that's a, but at the same time, to this listener, because I'm actually, I gave this listener a training plan, is that you should not be too gassed after your long run. You should still be
Yep.
able to run the next day.
Yes, 100%. If you're going so hard on your long run that and I understand long runs are usually going to be difficult, even if they're an easy long run because it's that mental game of running for a long time. But even if you have a workout on your long run, you shouldn't be gassing yourself too much. If you fuel correctly, you should be feeling fine the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think maybe if this listener is having a hard time post long run, it's probably a fueling issue.
Yeah,
Just because
I agree.
this listener asked the question, and they're just kind of getting into running, and so they're probably new to the carb game.
Yeah,
Is they might not like it, but I think they need to fuel a bit after the run so they can recover.
yeah, I agree.
A listener from Instagram said, "How often should I hard run?" For context, they do is run like a really hard 5K, like a couple times a week.
A couple times a week?
Hmm.
Wow. Do you want to take the head on this one or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, my advice to them would be to add in some more easy runs. They're doing it kind of an intense, kind of like they do a tempo run multiple times a week, and that's it. is
Yeah.
that's yeah, like it's good. You probably have a lot of good fast twitch muscles and good anaerobic fitness. But to build the aerobic fitness and to give yourself a base for running, you need to be doing some slower, easier
Yep.
miles. I would say take away one of the hard 5Ks that you're doing in the week and add in maybe three easy, like 30 to 45-minute sessions instead.
Yeah. And another thing too, if you're running hard too often, nothing will ever be easy.
Mm,
Everything's going to be a hard run. So if you, let's say you're doing 3 hard 5Ks a week, the days in between, if you're running on those days, you're going to be gassed. They're going to be hard. They're just going to be slower. That's it. They're going to be difficult runs. They're just not going to be as fast because you're tired from the days before. So if you stack your days right and you have two, maybe 3 hard days at most in a week, I would stick to two. And you have these easy, truly easy days in between, you're going to be fine. And also, your hard days don't have to be like, I'm on my hands and knees gasping for air hard days. Just because you're not completely emptying the tank doesn't mean you're not going to get benefit. That's what I would say.
yeah, this person, one of their goals that asked this question is they want to run a sub 6 mile. So I understand like you're training for a shorter distance. Maybe you think you have to have some of your miles
Yeah.
be hard, but the problem is that 100% of your mileage is hard right now when it really you're training for a race, so at max, I would say 30 to 40% of your
Yeah.
mileage should be
Hmm.
hard instead of
I agree.
100. So
Yeah.
we need to scale that back. You can still do 2 hard runs a week if you want. I wouldn't have it be 2 tempo runs essentially.
Yeah.
I would do a track session and then I would do a tempo run
Yeah.
or a fartlek or something like that. But I would also add in some easy miles at least 3 times a week, and this is on a 5-day training plan
Yeah.
model.
I agree.
Which is probably what I would prescribe this person if they wanted
Yeah.
a training plan is probably starting out 5 days a week and then upping it to 6. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
how often you should hard run for
Yeah.
this specific person, and probably for most people as well. Is I probably wouldn't do more than 2 or 3 hard sessions a week,
Yeah.
and 3 is for very advanced runners, and
Yes.
usually it's a long run
Yeah.
workout as
Three.
well.
Three. Yeah. The third would be a long run, and that's tough to handle. So
Yeah. Last question here. We had a question about jump rope, but I'd like to research before I ask about jump rope. Um, what did you do that helped you notice the most progress in your long run?
can you start? Because I have a few things in my mind, but I wanna pick from them.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what helped me, what I noticed most progress as an older person, like in my, post high school, it was the carbs was the big difference, is like just properly fueling is when I noticed kind of like me unlock that other gear. Um so fueling properly is a main thing. And then, I mean, just calling back to this past week, what I've noticed a lot of progress on is just putting in intentional quality miles
Yeah.
instead of just running just because I have to run.
Yeah.
So but that's kind of a mental thing too, is
Yeah.
like just like finding the joy again. And I think it's what a lot of people struggle with is like they get prescribed a schedule or like they set this weekly mileage goal in their head and they're like, okay, like time to do it. But like giving like reframing that and giving yourself um more and a more intentional way to run could be beneficial.
And I wanted to say something along kind of the mental side of the long run too, because I feel like most of the difficulty with long runs is on the mental side of it. So I feel like the way you attack it is start off slow. It's it's you don't have to settle in if you want to run. Let's say this listener's long run is 8 miles or something.
Mm,
Let's just throw that number out there,
yeah.
and you want to average a 9-minute mile the whole time
Hmm.
for the whole run. You don't have to start at a 9-minute mile. You can
Yeah.
start at 9:15, 9:20. The odds are, if you do your long run right, your slowest and worst feeling mile is probably going to be your first one. So take it as a little bit of a warm up. And that's what I did on my most recent long run. Like I said, when I started at like an 8:05 mile, but I averaged in the 7:20s. I felt a little sluggish. It was early. Don't lose hope in the first mile of a long run. It's a long run. There's a lot of time on your feet that you're going to be getting through. So just keeping your cool and saying, okay, just because I feel bad early doesn't mean I'm going to feel bad the whole time. I just got to loosen up and get into a groove. And that's the biggest thing that's helped me on the long runs is just trying to find that groove, getting into that place where eventually I feel like I could do this all day, you know, and you don't even have to be in great shape to do that. Because I wouldn't say I'm in that great a shape right now, but on my most recent long run, I felt like I was in, you know, that flow state sort of feeling. And yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Um, yeah, I find that I don't get fully warm until like 4 miles in,
Yep.
sometimes six.
Yeah.
So, but that's
And
because I'm on
knowing
higher
that,
mi that's I prescribed a little bit higher mileage, so it takes me a little bit longer to get
yeah,
loose. And like maybe I'm getting old. I don't know.
yeah.
Is 24 old? I don't know, but
No, it's just you have a lot of miles on your legs. It's just a
I
difference, you know.
I do have a lot of miles on my legs. But anyways, guys, that is every question that we have. So that is going to be it for this podcast. Silas, an hour 20. I think this is our longest podcast. We had a lot to talk about.
Yep, we sure did. And I think it was good. I think it was worth it, you know, taking an hour and 20 and taking a lot of time to at the end to hear out the listeners, you know, it's always good. So, yeah.
Yep, very thankful for all the questions, guys, and of course, keep them coming in. Join the Discord. We'll drop it in the description of the YouTube video, and you can also just like send me or Silas a message. We'll give you the link there. Like I said, we're working on that Patreon. We're probably gonna get that going soon. With a list of all the training plans that'll be behind a paywall. You will have to pay for them if you want just the basic training plans, but took on some free clients in this week and excited to get to work with them and hopefully help them achieve their goals. Silas, I think that is going to be it for us, and we'll be back next week. Anything coming up next week that we should be prepared to watch?
Um, well, I will say for how we always start our podcast, I'm going to be hitting my first 60-mile week of the summer next week. So hopefully I'll have a lot to talk about for that. Are there any races that I'm missing that are next week?
Not in the ultra world.
Yeah, I didn't think
Yeah,
so.
it might be a science only episode, which could be
Yep.
very fun.
Oh yeah,
Um, or
that would
Tour.
be
I think
great.
Tour de France women's race, so we could talk about that too as
Yeah.
well. We could talk a little bit about biking and some of the stuff that's happened in Tour de France. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, or follow us. Give us 5 stars if you're listening on a podcasting site, Apple Music or Spotify. And we will see you guys in a bit next week, Sunday night. Silas will be in college. It's closing night of my musical. Oh gosh, we might not even have an episode Sunday. I just thought about that. Well, we'll worry about it later. We
Yep.
might miss
Wait.
next Sunday,
Yep.
but if we miss next Sunday, we'll film another day. We might just film
Yep.
Monday instead. So,
Yeah. It'll be all right. We'll
anyways,
get to it.
yeah, we'll get to it. Anyways, thank you guys for being here. God bless, and we'll see you very soon.